Hi, and welcome to another video of the Target Individual Program, the Target Individual Experience. It's funny because just as I was about to hit the record button, they started with the car honking. Before that, they know what it is that they're doing, and then I'm going to expose it. So I went to take a shower. Okay, taking a shower, got out the shower, so I dry myself off. I bend down slightly to dry my feet. Okay, again with this towel, the brown towel. It seems like they don't like the color brown. Okay, but brown is black, black is brown. Right, it all comes from black. So as I'm wiping my feet, the police sirens went off. Okay, it was a little bit different this time. It was very low, but I couldn't tell if I was hearing it, externally or internally, right? Meaning that the sounds emanated from within your brain, right? Your skull, what have you. And so I was like, okay, I got to do a video on this. Also when I was in the shower, there was a knock on the door. No one didn't say anything at all. But it was only one knock, right? So it was right after the police. No, I'm sorry, it was before the when I was drying my feet with the police sirens. Just one knock on the door. That's what they love to do. One knock, one car beep, one whoop with the siren. At times when they're trying to be very covert about the remote node monitoring and about monitoring me within the home. So also, I went to see if I can do Facebook Live, and apparently I can get back on Facebook now, but it's probably too late because the live that I wanted to do, they prevented me from doing it. Okay, and usually when they do stuff like that, it's because they're either spreading propaganda and rumors, or two, conditioning. Because I wanted to invite Kevin Wesley for a discussion in terms of the situation between he was talking about with young Pharaoh and Dr. Umar Johnson, and so they wanted to again cut me off from that conversation, right? And this is what they do to disrupt, and then whatever it is that they're gonna do, probably condition the brother using silent sound spread spectrum, radio wave, microwave frequency, because that's what they do, right? The one thing that I understand with these dark triad personality types is that they will do anything to hide the truth. They will do anything to save their necks. They will do anything to hold on to their position, their power, right? And they will do anything, whether it be your low level dark triads within the police department, white supremacists, and white supremacists with black skin also, that they will do anything to hold on to their position, right, to their power. Okay, and so when and again, you see, this is how as TIs when you guys should read Mark Rich, The Hidden Evil. He has a website called newworldorder.org. He has a PDF that you can find online called The Hidden Evil PDF, and how they it talks about how these people, how they stay 10 steps ahead of you, because again, if they're remotely monitoring you through microchip implantation, anywhere that you go to seek help, they will already know, and in real time they will intercept. Okay, so this is what they did, right? So they intercept. So this is why I couldn't do live on Facebook for 3 days now. Okay, so they understand they understand exactly what it is they do, and I understand what it is they do, because like I said, I've been in this program long enough, and I've studied this program. I've studied what they've done. I studied the technology that they're using, all the lies that they try to tell, or all the deception. Okay, they've had these technologies from way back, influencing people, influencing you and I. Okay, and you know, many people don't want to believe it, but it's the truth. And that's why I said I will be the tool to speak the truth, to bring awareness to what's going on. Okay, and along with others like myself who are TIs and who are not TIs, who are willing to take the risk to expose the evil, expose the deception, expose the corruption, expose the technology that they're using, how they influence people. You know, and the one thing that I always say, you know, these people, you know, retaliation. So if you look at the police department, for example, right? You look at the police, any government agency, let's say the CIA, the military, what have you. You know, retaliation is their game also. Okay, when whistleblowers come out and speak up and out against the corruption that they see, right, in the department that they work in, within the federal government, within the CIA, the NSA, what have you, they are punished. Their lives are destroyed. Why? Because they retaliate against them. The police department, when black officers come forward and say, listen, you know, these stop and frisks are discriminatory, what do the police department do? Right? Make their life hell. Give them a mental illness. Fire them from their job. Okay? Create hostile environment. Right? So we're seeing this in real life with our own eyes, hearing it with our own ears, but somehow it doesn't register in our mind, in our conscious mind, as this is something that's very serious. Okay? And it's because we've been conditioned, we've been manipulated, brainwashed, not just through the educational system, but because of these technologies, because of corporate America using subliminal messages within the ads that they produce. Okay, we talk about the Popeyes chicken, with all this fights breaking all over the place, people, you know, fighting and hurting each other, with people pulling out guns. Why? Ask yourself why. Another question. Flint, Michigan. What happened to Flint, Michigan? Why is it that no one's talking about it? Right? Another question. The over 11,000 kids within the past 3 years who've been tested for lead poisoning. What happened to those kids? What happened to that story? These things are being erased from our minds, and it's being done by these technologies. Okay, I talk about Joyce Vincent, that woman in the UK who died in her apartment, right? And she laid dead in her apartment for over 3 years. The landlord didn't evict her, didn't even check to make sure that, you know, for his rent. Family members never checked on her. Co-workers, her employer never even wondered anything about her co-workers also. The light company, the telephone company. For 3 years, this woman lay dead in her apartment, and no one thought about this woman. And I'm not making this up. Like I said, whenever I say things, it's always based on facts. You can go Google her, Joyce Vincent, and there are other women like her. Okay? So, if you think that these technologies don't exist, you are a fool. And I just want you to think. Just think. Okay? So, like I said, they're never going to stop doing this. And this is why I continue to talk and speak up out against this, because, you know, they're about retaliation. Because, you see, they don't like when the truth comes out about them. They don't like it when you expose them for who you are. Okay? But they want to spread their lies and rumors and propaganda about you. Okay? Because they think that you're not smart enough to recognize and understand what was done to you. Okay? But we're all smart. We are all smart. We're all intelligent people. And you got to think. Alright? And don't just take my word for it. When I post stuff, don't take my word for it. You go look it up yourself. Right? And never trust anybody who's going to tell you things and not back it up with factual proof. Because the one thing that they want is to have us running around talking, about all these different things, sounding, off the wall. So that way their label can stick. Okay? But when you open your mouth and you talk about the things that you've done the research on, that you know, they can't try to discredit you. Okay? When you look back on your experience and you can put the two together, they can't discredit you. Alright? And just remember, they're the criminals. And what do criminals in power do? What do? In order to hold on to their power? They manipulate the people underneath them. They use them. When I say people underneath, I mean the people, who they think is underneath them, who they think is lesser than them. We are like play toys. They can manipulate and use and do all of what they want, and no accountability. The amount of damage that they've done to my community, the black community, okay, is irreparable. But they don't want to be held accountable. They want to put the blame on the victims, which is black people. Yes, victims. Doesn't mean you have a victim mentality. It means that you were a victim of a crime, a continued victim of a crime. Just as you as a TI is a continued victim of a crime, or crimes being committed against you. So you got to understand that. It is time we start looking at their personality. It is time we start holding them accountable. When they create poverty, and they know that poverty leads to crime, when they bring drugs into a community in order to use the people in that community as a money source so they can fund the illegal black budget operation that they don't want to talk about, right? That they can always claim, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, it's okay. Well, I'll just say lying by omissions, right? So to say that I don't know, I forgot the word. Okay, but this is what they do, right? This is what they do. When they take the DNA from our young boys and girls to see if there's a gene that make them more susceptible to crime. I mean, isn't that a bitch? I'm like, these people are the most criminal people on the face of the fucking earth. Okay? They've committed the most atrocious thing to other human beings, including themselves. Okay? But yet, no, yeah, the sirens now. But yet, right? Yet, they're taking blood, DNA sample from young black boys, looking for a gene to see if they are more prone to violence. I mean, do you understand how crazy that sounds? Do you understand that? Do you understand that the most violent people on this planet, okay, the most violent people on this planet will take the DNA of a black child to see if that child has a gene that makes him susceptible to violence? Do they take the DNA from a white child to see if that white child has a gene to become a serial killer, a mass murderer, a racist cop who kills black people indiscriminately because he's a serial killer of black people? Do they take the genes of those people? Do they take the genes of those white men in corporate America who steals billions and billions and billions of dollars from their employees? Do they take their DNA? Those are questions you need to ask yourself. Because what is going on is you have, throughout the black community, and I'm speaking about the black community right now, throughout the black community, you've had white, racist police officers, CIA agents, FBI agents, military, who uses the community of color, of black people, I should say, community in which black people live in, and they use these communities and the people in it as their own personal laboratory, and us as their own personal subjects that they can experiment, they can manipulate, they can lie, they can deceive, they can do everything to. And you hear the sirens, right? The sirens wasn't going off. Yeah. Well, yeah. But I know why. Okay? But yet, we don't think about these things. Not just, I'm not talking about TI, but we as black people, we don't think about these things. And there's plenty of evidence. There is plenty of evidence. But yet we walk around with our head up in the clouds, okay, acting and pretending as if everything is good and God is good and all of this stuff. And I told this one lady one day, I said, if God is so good, why is it that black people is at the bottom of the totem pole? If God is so good, why is it that in the black community, the majority of mental illness is, the people who have mental illness are black women? Okay? And yet those same black women would turn around and call us black men crazy. Look at what they're doing to our community. They have done to our community. They continue to do it. And we think because we drive a nice car or we live in an apartment or something like that things have changed. And I always say, go and look at the statistics. Go and look at the reality. Not the fantasy in your mind, not the delusion in your mind that they have implanted with these subliminal messages, with these technology, with television, movies, books, fantasy books, romance books. Right? To give you that escape away from the reality. You don't need to escape from the reality. You need to deal with the reality. Because when you deal with the reality, you can change the reality. When you're always escaping into that fantasy realm, nothing in your real world is going to change, and nothing is going to change for us as a people. Okay? I didn't say me or for you. I said for us as a people. Nothing is going to change. Okay? And it's about time we start looking at their history and understanding who they are, okay, and what they have done, what they continue to do, even to their own people. All right, that's what we need to start doing. Because, like I said, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for the TI community, and I'm doing this for every other person out there who may one day fall victim to this, so they can know exactly what to look out for, what's going on, and how to deal with it. Because I'm dealing with it the best way I can, and that's through doing this video. I told somebody the other day, I said, this is therapy for me. Right? They have taken away all of the therapy that I try to find or go to, so that I have no one to talk to share my story with in the professional setting and with a professional. And there's a reason why they do this. There's a reason why they do this. Okay? Because they don't want what your story about what it is that they've done to you on record, in any form, whether it be in the course, whether it be in with your therapist, with your psychologist, psychiatrist. They don't want that. Okay? So, like I said, I just need you to think.